Did Ken Carson drop another rage banger? That's what we're going to be figuring out today on this video of the Nerd Out. So make sure you like and subscribe, my beautiful people. And yeah, let's dive into this new Ken Carson album, A Great Chaos. So of course, for those of you that don't know, Ken Carson released a new album called A Great Chaos, and this is another essential within the subgenre of rage music that initially started with Playboi Carti's album Whole Lotta Red. Whole Lotta Red is an album that heavily influenced upcoming artists such as Yeat, Destroy Lonely, and Ken Carson. This new movement of rage music is a subgenre within hip-hop which is heavily inspired and derived from Playboi Carti's Whole Lotta Red, and some of the frontrunners of this rage scene are artists such as the ones that I mentioned: Yeat, Destroy Lonely, and Ken Carson. And with this new album, Ken Carson displayed a lot of creativity and potential. So let's get straight into it. Green Room is the opening track of the album, and it begins with a cool synth line that makes the intro feel epic in scope and makes it better by overlapping other synths in the background as well as trap drums, and Ken Carson raps along with this slurred out delivery that makes it feel very engaging and dynamic for the opening track. Another song that I want to talk about is Jennifer's Body, which features some more aggressive synths along with distorted bass and 808s that will ascend the listener in the very first drop. And yeah, another highlight in the track list is Fighting My Demons, which once again has the aggressive synths complemented by the distorted bass. And towards the mid section of this track, what I love most about it is that Ken Carson is able to display his rapping ability as the synths go quiet, and he raps over this distorted bass with a melodically focused yet slurred out performance. And then the track is made even more dynamic when the distorted bass goes quiet and is replaced by the futuristic synths. Yeah, another dynamic track is Singapore, which is one of the better tracks with one of the better performances as well by Ken Carson, as well as Destroy Lonely, because Destroy Lonely is featured on this track, and their voices and style of production complement each other very well as they start experimenting more with flows and get more rap heavy focused in the verses, which I enjoyed a lot, considering that Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely aren't really known for their rapping performances, but they really do get in their bag here, and I really appreciate that within these hard synths and distorted basses. It's fun to see. Another track that I want to bring up here is Lose It, which is easily one of the more dynamic and rage focused tracks as the distorted bass is amped up to 1000, making it very prominent in the production of this song. Ken Carson, he comes through with a very energetic performance, which is repetitive, but it never gets old. I mean, Lose It, you can turn it up all the way up in your headphones and your speakers and it'll go hard. Either way, I mean, this song is perfect for mosh pits, and it is an amazing rage banger. This will definitely be in rotation, easily one of the best tracks off the album. Another track that I want to mention is Succubus, which is yet another track filled with synths and distorted bass, as is the rest of the album, but this song, in contrast, it feels darker in tone. Ken Carson's performance is more melodic and menacing than before, and the track is dark and it feels nocturnal, which perfectly captures the feeling of the entire album. I mean, you can see the album cover, it's dark, it's grimy, it's dirty, and this is exactly what this song feels like. It represents and encapsulates the entire feeling and vibe of the album, which I really appreciate. Moving on to one of the highlights of the track list is Paranoid, which is another track that features Destroy Lonely, and the best part about these collab tracks is that between Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely, there's chemistry. You're seeing two of the main guys, two of the front runners within this rage subgenre of music, come together, crafting this slurred out yet dirty futuristic sound that perfectly encapsulates everything that modern hip hop is. This song, Paranoid, is an absolute banger. It goes hard. Once again, it perfectly encapsulates that dark, gritty feeling of the album, but it still sounds futuristic. It sounds modern. It sounds what the next wave of hip hop is going to be, and that's why I love this song, because Destroy Lonely and Ken Carson really are highlighting what the future of hip hop is going to sound like, especially within this rage subgenre. Moving on to Pots, which is one of the most creatively engineered songs on the album. It has the most unique and left field instrumental, but it still stays cohesive with its signature synths and its distorted bass, which once again, it's very prominent within the entire track list. And I might be saying that a lot, and some people might think that the album gets stale, and I'll get to that in my overall thoughts. But this album does have a lot of synths, a lot of distorted bass. Those are the two main components that make up the entire production of this album. But if people think it's gonna get boring after a while, it's not, and Pods is an excellent display of that. This song It has synths, it has distorted bass, but it is one of the most creatively engineered songs on the entire album. And shout out to the producers, shout out to Ken Carson, they did a fantastic job on this one. Moving on to Vampire Hour, once again, it features synths compared to the rest of the album, but unlike the rest of the album, this song feels more lighthearted, more colorful, pumped up, and playful, which I like it because it changes up the tone and the flows which Ken Carson is using, and it adds levity to the track list. It adds this balance, where some of the songs are dark and some of them, while they still feature synths, they're more playful and colorful, and it still stays true to its sound. And I really enjoy that because you see Ken Carson switching it up a little bit. It's not the same all throughout where it's just him with these slurred out lyrics. No, he's actually putting time and actually switching it up a little bit as he goes throughout the track list, and I enjoy seeing that. Another track that features that balance of dark and light is Nightcore, which once again has synths, but they're more reminiscent of a video game's theme song. It feels like you're playing on the PlayStation, but like the older ones, like the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and those little songs that you will hear in the background. That's what this song sounds like. It's playful, it's more colorful, and very inspired by Playboi Carti's Whole Lotta Red. Now, the final track that I want to talk about is Rockstar Lifestyle, which is another rage mosh pit essential, littered with futuristic synths, dirty vocals. The sound is amazing in both headphones and speakers, and that's what this album is all about. It's about the sounds, it's about the engineering, it's about the creativity and the production. There isn't much substance or core content within this album, but that's not why we listen to Ken Carson. That's not why we listen to artists like Yeat or Destroy Lonely or Playboi Carti. We're here for the synths, we're here for the distorted bass, we're here for the vibes and the rage music, and that's what this album perfectly encapsulates. Overall, A Great Chaos by Ken Carson is a great listen from start to finish. It's concise, it's cohesive, focused, and thank God it's not bloated with over 20 songs that last over an hour and a half. Now, coming back to something I said earlier, the track list, it may get stale and a little boring after a while depending on the person you ask, but this is due to the rinse and repeat formula of the synths, the distorted bass, the slurred out lyrics, which are all prominent within the writing of every single track. However, what makes this album engaging and more dynamic is the switch up in flows, the balance of the dark yet light-hearted tone, and some of the sprinkled performances by Destroy Lonely. And if I have to give this album an overall score, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's a very solid listen, and honestly, I enjoy the fact, and I give credit to Ken Carson for not bloating this album like Destroy Lonely did on his album If Looks Could Kill. That album is way too long, and while I love it, it's hard to listen to, and sometimes these really long bloated albums don't make for the best listening experiences. So I have to give credit to Ken Carson, for making it cohesive and concise, making it not too short but not too long either. And yeah, this album overall, a 6 out of 10. It's gonna last in rotation, and I am super excited to see what Ken Carson does next, and to see what other artists such as Yeat and Destroy Lonely do within the rage subgenre of hip-hop. Without further ado, make sure you like and subscribe to this video of the Nerd Out, my beautiful people. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.